As is customary, first whistle sends the blockers, second whistle sends the jammers, and we are underway.
Well, and when we have a jam, we've got 10 skaters on the track to start, 5 from each team. Now, what did that whistle mean, Mike?
Right now, we've got we've got sulfuric acid making her way through the pack on the inside, picking up lead jammer status for the Breakneck Betties. Right behind her, though, Honey Hellfire.
Now, both jammers, regardless of whether or not they get that big L, the second time they, in consequential passes, pick up points for every opposing blocker that they pass. Pony?
Rose City Rollers brought to you by Get Fit Training, the official fitness trainers of your Rose City Rollers, and the official site of the Hit to Fit 30-minute workout, Get Fit Training.
Sulfuric acid passed one of those opposing blockers on her scoring pass, putting 1 point on the board for the Betties. Honey Hellfire not able to do that. High Rollers held scoreless in the first jam.
Well, and lead jammer meaning that she could call it the jam at any time by putting her hands on her hips. If she chose not to, then we would go the full 2 minutes for a jam.
Deconstructor popping through the pack first for the Breakneck Betties, picking up lead jammer status. That's 2 jams in a row. Betties picking up lead jammer status, but Napoleon blown apart, only giving up about a quarter track behind her.
Well, and Mike, we still have all 10 skaters on the track. If a skater is going to incur a penalty, they are going to have to leave the track for 1 minute and serve it out in the penalty box on the far side of the track.
Rose City Rollers proudly serving barefoot wine and bubbly at all our bouts. Pick up some barefoot wine right now over the concession table.
Breakneck Betties putting only one more point on the board there, a score of 2-0.
Illegally Blonde taking the jammer cap in jam 3 for the High Rollers.
She's going up against Joyride for the Breakneck Betties. Oh, it's a photo finish.
And it looks like it's Illegally Blonde picking up lead jammer status, but Joyride hot on her wheels.
That was a quick pass, Mike. And not to be outdone, that pack is skating fast as well, positioning themselves in place, waiting for the jammers to arrive back to the pack.
Illegally Blonde calling off the jam as both jammers come up on the back of the pack since the High Rollers blockers were in the back. Illegally Blonde choosing to call off that jam quickly.
Proud sponsors of the Rose City Rollers, the Mercury, your source for entertainment news and entertainment news.
Rick Deckard on the jammer line for the High Rollers.
Back out on the line for the Betties, it's sulfuric acid.
We are starting jam number 4, and we have yet to have a skater enter the Rebel Jeweler penalty box. Sulfuric acid with a little bit of defensive jamming to start the jam.
And Rick Decker taking the inside line there. High Rollers creating a huge opportunity there while taking out acid, pushing her to the outside. High Rollers lead jammer.
Layla Smackdown helping to hold back sulfuric acid, getting some help from Hurricanes Katrina, and it's now Layla Smackdown engaging the blocker out of play. She is headed to the penalty box for 1 minute.
That's right, Mike Checks. If you are more than 20 feet in front or behind the pack, you can no longer hit or assist another skater without serving 1 minute out of play.
I'll tell you, at the end of this bout, we're all going to be glad that Northwest Medical Massage is one of our favorite sponsors. Nicole Saunders at Northwest Medical Massage.
At the end of that jam, Leech-speaking Missile picking up a major back block penalty. She is joining Layla Smackdown in the Rebel Jeweler penalty box.
Well, and that scoring pass that Rec earned gave the High Rollers 3 points, bringing them into the short 1 point lead over the Betties, who have 2 points at the moment.
Honey Hellfire back on the jammer line for the High Rollers, coming up against the 3-wall in the front set by the Breakneck Betties. Honey Hellfire picking up a minor back block penalty, and because she didn't pass everyone legally, she is not the lead jammer.
That's going to give Deconstructor the opportunity to earn that status.
Honey Hellfire on her scoring pass, picking up a major back block penalty, and she is now headed to the Rebel Jeweler penalty box for a minute as well.
Deconstructor, not lead jammer as well, while passing a high roller while she was out of bounds. No penalty is incurred to her, but she is not lead jammer, so that means, Mike, we're going to go for the full 2 minutes here.
Indeed, and we are about halfway through that 2 minutes. Deconstructor and the Breakneck Betties in a power jam situation.
And with that arm up in the air from the referees, that means high rollers out of play, having to let Deconstructor pass, picking up 5 points for the Breakneck Betties.
Grand slam for Deconstructor on her first scoring pass.
That's going to pull the Betties quickly over a lead over the high rollers here.
Layla Smackdown has rejoined the high rollers back out on the track, but Napoleon blown apart, getting sent to the penalty box for the high rollers.
Deconstructor getting a huge whip from her teammate there around the outside of the pack, completing another scoring pass, picking up another 5 points for the Betties.
Well, important to note, Dragon, the Deconstructor tried to call off the jam, but she is not the lead jammer. She picked up a minor illegal procedure. You cannot call off the jam when you are the lead if you are not the lead jammer.
Well, and the reason why DK is picking up that 5th point on the pass, that means she is lapping the other jammer, or the other, in this situation, their jammer was in the box, so she gets that 5th point for each pass. Pony?
Rockstar Energy Drink, Rockstar, the favorite energy drink of your Rose City Rollers.
Honey Hellfire returning to the penalty box during that jam at the very end. That means that the Breakneck Betties are going to start this jam in a power jam situation once again.
Well, and that's Joyride jamming for the first time tonight for the Breakneck Betties. Oh well, whatever.
Breakneck Betties with a 4-3 blocker advantage, and Joyride jamming unopposed right now. She makes quick work of the pack on her way to lead jammer status.
Well, and without having a jammer on the track, high rollers trying to pick up the pace of the pack, but Betties likewise trapping back one of the ladies in green to control a slower pace, making it as easy as possible for Joyride to pick up additional scoring passes.
Excellent hit by Napoleon, blown apart on Joyride at the back of the pack, but Joyride regroups and makes it through the pack, putting another 5 points on the board for the Breakneck Betties.
As we have the penalty box slowly emptying out, we have both teams in full blocking force right now. Meanwhile, Joyride picking up another 5 points for the Betties.
2 grand slams so far this jam for Joyride. Both teams back at full strength.
And not only that, but we've got both jammers on the track as well. Now that was just Honey Hellfire's first pass, so no points were scored.
The Brew, serving up 6 and 12 packs of hits every day. The Brew, one of our proud sponsors.
Mike checks, Betty's pulling a commanding lead here in the first few jams over the high rollers. What do you think about that?
Absolutely amazing on the heels of that 14-point jam by Joyride. Betty's establishing control early on.
Well, next up, we've got acid jamming for the Betties.
And number 28, Minstrel Psycho, jamming for the high rollers. High rollers shifting their defense to the front of the pack. Hurricanes Katrina doing a great job of defense on sulfuric acid.
Meanwhile, Betty's building that wall in the back of the pack, shutting down Minstrel Psycho. Both jammers here having to fend on their own.
Minstrel Psycho working through on the inside, picking up lead jammer status, not far behind her sulfuric acid.
With all 10 skaters on the track, both teams fast and furious, pulling strategies, jostling for position, waiting for the jammers to re-enter their pack from each respective color.
Minstrel Psycho, a little bit of defensive jamming, holding back sulfuric acid, but calls off the jam before any points are scored. Magic?
Hey, I want to tell you about the Delta Cafe. Big Eats, stiff drinks, amazing southern fare. That's the Delta Cafe.
We've got the High Rollers calling a team timeout. That's going to give them 1 minute pause from the game.
Well, and teams are awarded a total of 3 timeouts per 60-minute bout. High Rollers taking one here early, getting the troops together, getting their strategies set, and ready to go back out on the track.
Well, let's talk about that last jam. Minstrel Psycho calling it off before she even scored any points. Now, why would a jammer pull a move like that?
Well, Minstrel Psycho coming up on the back of the pack realized where her blockers were, realized where the opposing blockers were, and also realized where the opposing jammer was, and decided that based upon that setup, it was more wise for her to call an end to the jam, knowing that she most likely wouldn't have scored terribly many points and wanting to limit the number of points that the Betties were able to score in that jam.
Now, sometimes point protection is the smartest way to go. We're at the end of our 1 minute timeout and skaters are lined back up, ready to get this action restarted.
Again, Dragon, both these teams playing fairly clean so far tonight. We're about 10 minutes in, nobody in the penalty box right now.
We'll just give it a minute.
Illegally Blonde wearing the jammer cap once again for the High Rollers.
And Deconstructor out there for the Breakneck Betties.
Illegally Blonde going all the way around the outside to pick up lead jammer status for the High Rollers.
DK still fighting her way at the back of the pack there. High Rollers concentrating on the front, shotting her down on the inside line.
A swarming green wall of 4 skaters at the front of the pack for the High Rollers, doing a great job of defense, keeping Deconstructor contained.
Well, DK doing a little defensive jamming now. I'm pretty sure the High Rollers not so happy with the Betties taking this sort of lead, and they've decided they want to take back the game and show them what they got.
Definitely not. Decon doing a great job of leading Illegally Blonde right into the back of Scrappy Go Lucky.
And we've got Blondie through for full 5 points for the High Rollers.
Northern Lights out, headed to the penalty box for the Breakneck Betties, giving the High Rollers a 4-3 blocker advantage.
DK still fighting her way in the front of the pack there, trying to clear for her initial pass.
Devastating Diva doing a good job bridging the pack, and Illegally Blonde on her second scoring pass puts 5 more points on the High Rollers side of the board.
DK going in for a big hit on Blondie, a little bit of a swing and a miss there. And she escapes that pack unscathed and is already back around again.
Deconstructor finally breaking through that wall of green at the front of the pack. Illegally Blonde engaging on her scoring pass once again.
And she takes a few points and calls off the jam. Pony, what do you got for us?
Hey, if you ever wonder what the official crash pad of the Rose City Rollers is, that's the Jupiter Hotel. Check out the 15% discount when you book a room off our website, rosecityrollers.com.
Well, Mike, how many points was that last jam for the High Rollers?
13-point effort by Illegally Blonde and the High Rollers, bringing the High Rollers to within 12 points.
Well, we got Joyride back up on the jam line for the Betties.
And once again, she's going up against Honey Hellfire. Honey Hellfire working on the inside.
Now it's the Betties concentrating their effort in the front of the pack. A huge wipeout slows Honey down, but sends Push Latouche out for a low block tripping major.
Meanwhile, Honey Hellfire getting through that red wall at the front of the pack, picking up lead jammer status for the High Rollers.
And Joyride out of the pack on her first pass as well. Looks like we have a little bit of a tangle, and that's going to send Penny Dreadful out for blocking out of bounds.
Honey Hellfire trying to work her way through that pack on her first scoring pass, gets around a couple of Betty's blockers for 3 points. Now keep in mind, folks, not only does she get 1 point for each blocker on the track that she passes, but if there is an opposing blocker in the box, she will also get the points for those blockers as well. Magic?
Hey, I'd like to send a huge shout out to Oaks Amusement Park, the home of your Rose City Rollers.
Well, we're getting a score update at the moment from our fabulous score presenter, Hella Kitty. Thank you for joining us tonight and making our score look so pretty.
Rick Decker taken to the jammer line for the High Rollers.
Going up against sulfuric acid for the Breakneck Betties.
High Rollers once again setting up shop at the front of the pack. Sulfuric acid coming up against them.
Huge wipeout from Lead Speaking Missile there, taking out the barriers as well. Both jammers just getting it handed to them.
And an amazing show of footwork by sulfuric acid, by Rick Decker, just etching out sulfuric acid for lead jammer status.
It was so fast, it was such a blur. It was really just confusing the two players. It was a no-brainer.
Hey, I'd like to send a huge shout out to Ron Tonkin Chevrolet, Ron Tonkin Fiat, one of our newest and proudest sponsors. Thank you, Ron Tonkin. Vroom, vroom. Beep, beep.
Minstrel Psycho returning to the PBR jammer line for the High Rollers.
Deconstructor for the Breakneck Betties. These last few jams, the High Rollers doing a phenomenal job of chipping away at that point differential. Only 6 points separate these two teams right now.
Deconstructor almost undetected on the outside, rolling through for lead jammer status.
Betties are not ready to give away that lead quite yet.
High Rollers started short one blocker. Penny Dreadful started the jam in the penalty box. She has since rejoined them on the track.
Now Napoleon Blown Apart being sent off for a low block tripping major. DK picks up 2 points and quickly calls off the jam, Pony.
Rose City Rollers would like to thank Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Start something, become a big brother, a big sister today.
Well, Dragon, this is exactly the kind of bout that we figured we'd see. Only 8 points separating these two teams as we are a little more than halfway through the first half of play.
Phew. We've got Joyride once again jamming for the Breakneck Betties.
Illegally Blonde taking the cap once more for the High Rollers.
Again, we're seeing the split of the team's attentions on the front of the back of the pack here.
High Rollers content to take the front of the pack as far as defense is concerned. Breakneck Betty setting up shop in the back.
And each of them knocking their jammers out of bounds, inside, outside. It's just as effective. Either way you go with it.
Honey Hellfire repeatedly hitting Joyride. Joyride finally getting around her, now going up against Heidi Go Seek in the front of the pack. Give her no quarter, trying to give Joyride some help.
And we finally, 1 minute into this jam, have a lead jammer with Joyride out of the pack, wearing that red star. That was a hard-earned lead jammer there, Mike Checks.
Indeed it was. Illegally Blonde still working on making her way through. Honey Hellfire dropping Francesca in the back of the pack.
Blondie taking the outside of the pack, finally clearing her initial pass. Meanwhile, we've got Joyride back in for her first scoring pass.
Joyride content to take 3 points and call off the jam.
Getting thirsty, New Belgium Brewing Company, one of our proud sponsors. Toddle on over to the concession stand right now. Pick up a can of Fat Tire Pale Ale, New Belgian Brewing Company.
Well, if you're down there picking up a beer, you should also check out the Oregon Lottery.
Oh, the Oregon Lottery is here. They're starting a contest to give away $2,500. That contest will end on June 23rd. Talk to my friends Thais or Rich and enter that contest right now.
We've got sulfuric acid jamming once again for the Breakneck Bennies. Mike Checks, who's that wearing green?
Rick Decker jamming once again for the High Rollers, and she is through the pack first, picking up lead jammer status. Layla Smackdown trying to hold back sulfuric acid, getting a little help.
Acid getting a little uniform assist off her teammate Slim Sheedy out there. And finally jumps, but quickly gets recycled back into that pack.
And the High Rollers doing a great job of extending the length of the pack for sulfuric acid while Rhett Decker gets through on a grand slam.
Acid going in for a big hit on Rhett Decker to the back of the pack, unfortunately taking herself out instead. 6 points separating these two teams.
Intensive scare pushing sulfuric acid to the inside of the front straightaway. Sulfuric acid still working on her initial pass. Rhett Decker, though, through the pack once again for another 5 points for the High Rollers.
I'm smelling a lead change here soon.
1 point separating these two teams. Sulfuric acid getting around Layla Smackdown at the front of the pack for the High Rollers.
No pack situation getting called. Rhett breezes through, calls it off.
4 more points at the end of that jam for Rhett Decker, and the High Rollers have taken the lead at 38-35. Magic?
Celebrate that lead change by buying some raffle tickets right now. We're giving away some donuts and a custom Pap Blue Ribbon bowling shirt. Raffle Vixens are on the floor now. Those tickets are $1 each or 10 for 5.
With this next jam, Breakneck Betties starting with a slight blocker disadvantage with a skater in the box over there. Jamming for them, once again, Deconstructor. And
Minstrel Psycho making her way through the pack first. However, she picked up a minor penalty, a no pass, no penalty. Excuse me, she is not eligible for lead jammer status.
well, that is going to give DK the opportunity to pick it up when she exits this pack. Now, if a jammer picks up a minor penalty while going through the pack, she can still be eligible for lead jammer if she drops back and legally repasses that same skater.
Minstrel Psycho making it through the pack, picking up 4 points for the High Rollers. Deconstructor declared lead jammer by It's So Easy.
And Deconstructor calls off the jam.
Hey, I'd like to tell everybody about Kay's Bar, Selwood's favorite watering hole, proud sponsor of the Wheels of Justice. That's Kay's Bar.
Honey Hellfire returning to the PBR jammer line for the High Rollers.
Going up against Joyride for the Breakneck Betties. We've got all 10 skaters on the track. And they're off.
Joyride quickly off the jammer line for the Breakneck Betties.
Almost taking identical paths through the pack, but it's Joyride who emerges triumphant, gets lead jammer for the Breakneck Betties.
Mad Splatter going in for a huge hit on Honey Hellfire.
High Rollers doing their best to protect their points by getting further in front of the pack. Woo! Huge hit from Heidi Gosik. One more big round of applause for Joyride right there. Our skaters are so awesome. So, Pony, tell us, where is the after party for tonight?
Tonight's after party's at the Space Room. That's at 49th and Hawthorne here in Portland. Your ticket Your bracelet gets you in free.
Well, Dragon, it looks like we've got Hurricane Katrina wearing the jammer cap right now for the high rollers.
And she's going up against sulfuric acid for the Betties.
Hurricane Katrina up against that wall of three at the front of the pack. Great positional blocking. But it's Hurricane Katrina picking up lead jammer status.
Well, Acid is hot on her heels there. We still have all 8 blockers on the track for both teams being represented.
Hurricane Katrina trying to pick one off before calling off the jam, and she was successful. One more point for the high rollers, Magic.
That Get Fit training gets these girls on the track and up and running. Get Fit training, the home of the 30-minute Hit to Fit workout.
Well, this next jam we've got Deconstructor for the Breakneck Betties.
And Illegally Blonde on the jammer line for the high rollers.
Still impressive how clean both these teams are playing and staying out of the penalty box.
Excellent footwork by Illegally Blonde getting through the front of that pack. She is your lead jammer.
Deconstructor still fighting her way through the pack, getting a whip assist from her teammate. Unfortunately, Heidi Gosek and Kit Cassidy sitting at the front of that green wall.
Devastating Diva up to help out, pushing Deconstructor to the outside of turn 2.
Still looking to clear her initial pass there as Illegally Blonde in the pack, picking up some points now.
Heidi Gosek, some great defense against Deconstructor.
Deconstructor getting called out on a major cutting the track penalty. That means she got knocked out of bounds and re-entered in front of the person who hit her out.
Oh, and Illegally Blonde trying to call off the jam, but was whistled for a back block penalty first. She is now headed to the penalty box, Dragon.
But we don't have a jammer on the track. What are we gonna do?
I think we should release one of them.
Oh, that's awfully nice of you.
I'm a benevolent dictator, what can I say?
Well, with Deconstructor serving mere seconds in the box, Illegally Blonde having to serve the same amount of time, just to be fair.
Now keep in mind that Illegally Blonde was the lead jammer prior to that penalty. After getting sent to the penalty box, she is no longer lead jammer in this jam.
How long is that jam gonna go then, Mike?
It is gonna go 11 more seconds for a total of 2 minutes, Dragon.
You're so good at counting things. Deconstructor out of the pack for another scoring pass, picking up another 4 points for the Betties. Oh my goodness, what's the score gonna be? It's so close.
Rose City Rollers would like to thank PDX Pipeline, your source for Portland music, arts, entertainment happenings, happenings like Derby right now.
We've got only 10 mere points separating these two teams, Mike.
Indeed we do. Betty's putting 4 more points on the board in that last jam. Rec Deckard jamming for the high rollers.
And Joyride is out there once again rocking that red star for the Breakneck Betties.
Layla Smackdown continuing to play defense. Lethal Lolita and Francesca trying to hold back Rec Deckard, but that is a really hard thing to do. She is your lead jammer.
And we had a star pass there to the Betties pivot, the only other team member on the track who can accept the star. That is Lethal Lolita, now jamming for the Betties.
Two points picked up by the high rollers as that jam called to a quick end. Magic?
Hey, I'd like to remind you that Rockstar Energy Drinks, one of our proud sponsors, Rockstar right now.
Well, we've got just under 3 minutes left in this first period. Going to take a 15-minute break. And I gotta tell you, Mike, I can't wait to see what brings period 2, another 30 minutes of action, where this is gonna take us.
I can't wait to see if I win that PBR shirt in the drawing that we are gonna have at halftime.
Well, we got the Betties winning lead jammer status for this time around. Sulfuric acid out there.
Minstrel Psycho, though, through the pack as well for the High Rollers. Dragon, we have seen some amazing footwork on display by the jammers this evening, but we have also seen some amazing defense being played by both packs tonight.
Everybody needs to know how to skate, and the Betties are now losing their jammer for a major back block. Unfortunately, when she entered the penalty box, she skated past the line of no return and has to take a full lap around the track to the box.
And it's important to point out that that time for her 1-minute penalty will not start until she sits in the penalty seat. 5 points in the meantime being picked up by Minstrel Psycho on a grand slam for the High Rollers.
This is a good opportunity for them to drive up that point differential as we lead into halftime here shortly.
High Rollers stunning Breakneck Alley into silence right now.
Now we got the High Rollers losing their jammer for her 4th minor, picking up a forearm there. Another jammer do-si-do out of the penalty box.
Hopefully Breakneck Alley can show Sulfuric Acid a little bit of love as she is back out on the track.
Oh, huge hit from Seduce Destroy. Turn 3 there, taking out Acid.
Princess Nye trying to open up a hole for Sulfuric Acid to get through as she is working through the pack once again.
That's what you like to see out of your roller derby skaters. Big hits and getting right back up and back into the action. Tony?
Halftime's coming up. Great time to toddle on over to the merch table, pick up some Rose City Rollers swag, pick up a New Belgium Brewing Company or some Barefoot Wine and Bubbly. Halftime coming up.
We're going to go into this next jam. Nobody's sitting in the penalty box from either team.
21 points the difference going into this, the final jam of the first half.
We've got Deconstructor jamming for the Breakneck Betties.
Honey Hellfire wearing the cap once again for the High Rollers.
Both teams cinching up their defense, not willing to let the jammer by.
Lead speaking missile and give her no quarter, doing a great job holding Honey Hellfire back, but she finds a way around him on her way to lead jammer status.
Now, while the period clock may have hit 0, this jam is not going to end until the jam clock hits 2 minutes or it is called off. So stay in your seats. We've got just a little bit more action here.
Honey Hellfire coming around again. Push Latush doing battle against Heidi Go Seek in the middle of the pack.
Betty's doing their best to close up on that inside line, choking off Honey Hellfire from her scoring pass.
Deconstructor looking for her opportunity to get through the pack. Intensive scare. And devastating Diva pushing her back to the back of the pack once again.
Nice follow-up hammer and nail there, taking DK out. Meanwhile, Honey picking up 5 points for the High Rollers.
Looks like number 210, Heidi Go Seek picking up a low block major.
That's gonna send her off for 1 minute.
Honey Hellfire, though, keep rolling around the track. Another 5 points on the board for the High Rollers. And now devastating Diva being sent to the penalty box also for a low block major.
Now, if they don't finish their 1 minute during this period, it will carry over to the second period. You do not get away with anything here.
Push Latush and Lethal Lolita trying to hold back Honey Hellfire.
Huge spills and falls there on the straightaway, but that's going to be our 2 minutes, and we are hitting into halftime. Pony, tell me about that raffle one more time.
The raffle's coming up. Pick up your tickets. Those are $1 each or 10 for 5. Tonight we're giving away a dozen Voodoo Donuts and a custom Pabst Blue Ribbon bowling shirt. That raffle will be coming up in 10.